Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome to another edition of our self-directed IRA Saturday. Thank you for joining us. My name's Andrea, and I'm an IRA specialist at Quest. Super excited for our presentation today. We have a special speaker from Eckard Enterprises that I will introduce in a little bit. First, though, I would like to go through our disclaimer. Quest Trust Company does not provide tax, legal, or investment advice or endorse any product, services, or investments of any type. All information and materials shared here today are for educational purposes only, and all parties are always encouraged to consult with their attorneys, accountants, and financial advisors before entering into any type of investments. Let's talk a little bit about what a self-directed IRA is and go over that. Self-directed IRA is basically just like any other IRA. But with a difference in what you'll be investing your funds in. You can use an old 401k or a rollover IRA that you have anywhere else that maybe a more traditional investment types like securities, stocks, bonds. You can bring it over to a company like us, like Quest, and invest it in private investments such as real estate, private entities, promissory notes, oil and gas, mineral rights, which is what we'll be talking about today. And so, yeah, who doesn't like to have control over their investments in their self-directed IRA? So we have a special offer which ends actually on Monday. So make sure you take advantage of this. Sorry, there's my nephew's in the background here. I'm at my parents. But with this coupon code, you'll be able to open an account for free up until on Monday. This offer ends on Monday. So if you're thinking about opening an account, right now is the best time because we do it for free. And of course, if you'd like to book a consultation with any of us IRA specialists from our team, please scan this QR code. We'll be happy to talk to you, to answer any questions, to walk you through the process of investing with your self-directed IRA. Anything you need, we'll be happy to support you there. So without any further ado, let's bring our guest speaker for today. We have a surprise for you all, and we can get started on the presentation.
There I am. Look at that.
Hello. Hi, Derek.
Hey, Andrea. How you doing?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I missed
Good to
you
have you
guys.
here.
I know you just had a baby, didn't you?
I did. He's really growing now, super big now.
Aw.
Yeah,
I thought I
really
heard
cute.
the chocolate come out a minute ago, so it made me laugh.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, good to have you here, Derek.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. I
Go
appreciate it.
ahead and take it away.
Sure. Well, thank you. Victor, if you want to remove the other screen, I can't add any screens. And perfect. So, guys, my name's Derek Long. Honestly, I work with Eckard Enterprises. I used to work with Quest Trust Company for a long, long period of time. Well, a little bit behind the scenes is honestly, I just got tired of managing everyone else's money and watching you guys just build these big buckets of wealth in your self-directed IRA. So what I did is I started and I leveraged, a lot of my knowledge, a lot of the people I knew, and a lot of the center of influences that I met will be in there. And one of the most, I'd say, probably influential people that I got to meet while working with Quest Trust Company was Troy Eckard himself, right? And during that, he taught myself and a ton of people about different aspects of oil and gas. So as we go through this, I always like to remind people my expertise really is in self-directed IRAs. I am not an oil and gas expert. Am I becoming one? Absolutely, right? But I want to kind of walk through maybe what I've seen in the market from the oil and gas industry, all right? Nothing to do with Eckard Enterprises themselves, but really kind of what I've seen and really what we can start to expect in the future. And a lot of this comes down to people just understanding the best ways to invest in oil and gas. So everything we talk about today, this holds true no matter really where you go. So we want to avoid certain topics of conversation, right? And that might be, I'm going to label it more the real estate side. But when we talk about a lot of things that Eckard provides, it ends up indirectly communicating with real estate as well. Now, I will let you guys know that it's typically very difficult for someone to go ahead and honestly get to have a real conversation with an oil and gas expert. It is difficult. It really is, because too many times you get stuck with what I'm going to label as that salesperson that just wants you to give them money. So at the very end of this, I'm going to bring on a special guest who actually worked with Exxon for, I want to say 12, it might be 13 years, and has such a vast amount of knowledge in the oil and gas industry. So we're going to bring him on right at the end to talk about those. And then we're going to talk a little bit about a special event that's right around the corner. So once again, my name is Derek Long. I'm actually the Business Development Manager with Eckard Enterprises. I still hold a CISP license. And as we go through this, I want to keep this as much as I can an open-ended conversation. I want to make sure that if you guys have any questions, we'll bring them up right on the screen. And overall, make sure that you guys are all being well taken care of. So let's start off by figuring out the two different ways people can invest in oil and gas. And this is very unique to me because everyone only seems to know about one way, right? And I'm ignoring the stocks or like buying oil and gas stocks or something like that, right? But there's really two main ways. One is called working interest. The other is mineral rights. So if I know that these are the two ways to invest, which one's more popular? It's actually the working interest. So working interest is very high risk, but very high reward. As a matter of fact, in my experience, I've seen there's a 50-50 chance that every investment into working interest, you could lose every dollar you invested. Every single dollar. That's scary, a 50% chance if you think about it. But it comes with those really, really high rewards. So because you have these high risks that come with it, guess what? You get very large tax deductions. And I always find this funny. If you've ever listened to probably most oil and gas speakers talk on these topics, they only talk about these large tax deductions you get. But if you're just doing an investment for a tax deduction and not thinking about your earnings or not thinking about not losing that principal, then guys, you might as well just pay the IRS and keep them off your butt. You really should. So working interest is high risk, high reward. It's the most common investment that you'll see in the oil and gas industry, which it also means it brings on capital calls. Anyone who's going through this, and there's a lot of other oil and gas companies out there, they won't mention these other things. They only talk about the large tax deductions. They don't talk about the risk, right? Or the capital calls that come with it. Now, mineral rights is very, very low risk, right? It actually gives you real ownership. There is no capital calls. And I think the most important thing about mineral rights is a monthly paycheck that can actually come to your inbox. Now, Eckard Enterprises can offer both of these. They're very open about these type of things. And this is one of those topics that Troy himself really kind of hound on me is like, look, before you want to invest in the high risk, high reward aspect, let's actually get you something that's a hard asset. Something that you physically own. You can use a self-directed IRA for. You can do a 1031 exchange. You can buy it personally. It doesn't matter. And if you get a monthly check and no capital calls, those are really the assets you're looking for. Now, mineral rights, according to the IRS, is actually considered real estate. If I look at something like working interest, you're investing more into a fund or a limited partnership, or you're investing into an LLC, you're investing into someone else. They're going to take your money. They're going to go do an investment, okay? Whereas when you're investing in mineral rights, you actually have real ownership. So let's look at all of our real estate asset choices, right? I've seen the residential properties. I even own rental properties myself, right? I've seen those commercial deals. I've never invested in a multifamily because I don't like how they're structured. I don't like the UDFI if I use a self-directed IRA, and I don't like the non-ownership, but it's a very popular way. Short-term rentals, they're starting to become up very, very popular. There's self-storage investments, and then there's mineral rights. That's right. All of these are real estate choices. So before you, the investor, choose to invest in any asset, let's look at what it costs to own it. Every one of the investments I just mentioned, if we talk about single-family homes, I'll tell you what, my wife and I just got hit hard with property taxes just about 2 months ago. It was tough to see how much our property taxes, that's with us disputing them. Consistently, we are always having to deal with maintenance fees and insurance costs that are going up. The HOA fees we personally pass off to our tenants, but hey, it is what it is. Same thing if we deal with commercial properties, right? We'll always have to deal with those property taxes, maintenance, repairs, operational costs that you might not even, really expect. And insurance costs is consistently going up. What about one of those multifamily deals that everyone seems to see out there? When we look at those, You're investing in someone else. Someone else has full control of your capital. I'm not a big fan of it, right? What about the marketing costs to get someone into your short-term rentals? What about those Airbnbs and VRBOs and everything like that? I mean, honestly, it's a lot of asset cost. So what if I told you all of these things are eliminated once you own mineral rights? All of them. Let that sink in. If I could own an asset, pay zero property taxes, pay zero maintenance and repairs, don't have to deal with liability or hold insurance, right? And get a monthly payment every single month. Wouldn't you choose that type of asset? Absolutely you would. So let's talk about mineral rights and actually what is it? Because it's funny, when I think about it, a lot of people are so used to thinking of them as the surface rights. Well, that's you just thinking as a real estate investor. When you go out, you and buy a property, you invest in something, you own the surface rights. So mineral rights is beneath the ground. You actually get to buy them per acre. I think this is actually really, really unique because once you're buying these assets per acre, it's just like owning the exact same piece of real estate, but because it's underneath the ground, not the surface rights, right? We own everything that you see there where that blue arrow is. That's what you're buying. You're buying those acres, but you own it infinite levels deep, all the way down to the core of the earth, all the way across. Every acre you purchase. So once again, we want to look at those minerals. Remember, they are considered real property. They're titled and deeded over to you, the individual. So when we use a self-directed IRA, the IRA takes title to those mineral rights just like it was taking title to a single-family home, right? Because you're not the one doing the drilling for oil, you just own the minerals. You don't have any liability or obligation. Zero exploration costs, zero operating expenses, zero property taxes if you own them in the Anadarko Basin, right? Which is the primary place I think people should be looking to buy minerals, right? No capital calls, and most importantly, no holding costs, or if there is a holding cost, it is cheap. We're talking like $2 and $3 a month to hold minerals. And that typically just comes down to maybe the operators that you have to pay a small fee for them for their geologists and stuff like that. It's like $2 or $3. So literally, I'm going to put that still under the no holding cost aspect. Mineral rights are actually the most common passive investment form of income in all the asset classes out there. If you actually talk to the real wealthy individuals, the people that have a net worth of $10 million or more, this is actually what they've probably either inherited or own themselves. It's really crazy. But the reason why is once you own mineral rights, assuming that you purchase the proper ones, right? You don't want to just buy mineral rights in Phoenix, Arizona, right? Sorry for those of you guys out there in Phoenix, but that's not going to be the best mineral rights to buy. Why? You don't see oil and gas companies out there drilling for oil. You want to buy something that actually already has good oil and gas companies on there, and they're going to make sure they pay you every single month. So I love that. In addition, mineral right owners are at the top of the food chain. They're the first ones to get paid. So I ask you once again, what investment out there pays you every single month? You have billion-dollar tenants with no capital calls, no operating cost, right? No insurance, no liability to you. I dare you to show me one other asset out there. And this is one of those reasons I was able to separate from my job at Quest Trust Company. I really enjoyed working with them. I enjoyed working with people like Andrea and Anne-Marie and Kurt Power and Nathan. But guys, I saw the money that was being made and I had to take a shift. So all I do is I tell everyone, I don't care who it's with, I don't care where you go, you want to find good producing mineral rights. So then the next question is, well, Derek, what does the investment look like? Well, guys, a lot of times this is what I used to think investments look like, right? No, this is what I'm going to call is the working interest. Oh, I love my coffee. Slows you down, doesn't it? For everyone else, it speeds them up, gives me a chance to take a breath. But the investments you see here on the screen, guys, this is working interest. This is those big pump jacks. Those are what's pumping oil out of the ground. This is what the oil companies are actually, drilling for oil with. This is not mineral rights. These are more your tenants. I like to think of these individuals right here we see on the screen as a tenant. So what does an investment look like? Looks something more like this. Now, I put this one up here because this is the most recent mineral investment that I personally purchased. This is not available or anything like that. But I like to use it because there's reasons I purchased this one. Now, the first thing I always look at before I buy any mineral investment, any mineral acre, I want to know if there's producing wells on there. I look at this and I go, okay, who's ever selling this? I can see there's already 39 wells that are producing. I like this because this tells me there's oil and gas already there. You're not worried about those things like a dry hole or something like that. That is not the case. All that comes with the working interest side. That's why it's so risky. I see right here, there's already 39 producing wells. Now, if you look down there, you can see there's operators. These are the big oil and gas companies that are on there. So I can see, oh, we got, Devon, a multi-billion dollar oil and gas, they're a gas company right here, and they're my tenant. But these same oil and gas companies, they have 8 additional wells that are going to be coming online very, very soon. And they call them DUCs, drilled, right? They've been drilled and they're uncompleted. And then they even have wells they applied for a permit. So I like to see that I have wells that are producing and then new wells that are going to be coming in online. So one of the biggest questions I get is, Derek, if these are so popular, if this is really the best investment that we can get out there, I can get the monthly payment, why doesn't everyone buy them? Why doesn't everyone have them? It's because of this right here. I want to say this investment right here it might have been $12,500 per acre. So let's just call it, we'll even round it up, we'll call it $13,000 an acre so we can overestimate. There's only 500 acres available. So what happens when they're sold out? Sucks to be you. You missed out. You missed the boat and you no longer can purchase any of these. These people that when you're buying these minerals and you're buying them from groups like Eckard Enterprises, well, what ends up happening is they don't need your capital. Troy Eckard himself actually goes out and buys the minerals first because they're already producing. They're already cash flowing. Remember, you getting monthly paycheck. I love that aspect. And you can buy them for $12,000, $13,000 an acre. So what happens when they're sold out? They're sold out. It's that simple. They're not always raising capital. They can't always just be accepting capital. This isn't like a limited partnership. Remember, you are the owner. You're the individual that goes out and you now own these per acre. And they come with leases already, 10, 20, 50-year leases in some cases with the big oil and gas companies saying they're going to pay you for that amount of time. Well, Derek, I love this aspect, but what happens if they're not drilling or I'm not getting they're not on my specific acre? Doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, when we're looking at mineral rights in certain areas like the Anadarko Basin, right, they all should be looking at things that are called horizontal drilling, right? No longer are new wells coming on that are vertical wells. If you hear that, run, all right? That is old technology. That is old ways of drilling, right? You want to be looking for things that are horizontal wells. So when we go back to this, every one of those ducts that you see in everything that's permit will have a horizontal well being created, meaning they drill down. And then if you see a little green circle, they go to the left, they go to the right, they go up, they go down. So they're probably not drilling directly on your acre, but they're still sucking oil or gas from there just because of the horizontal aspect. So what happens is everything gets put in what they call a pooling aspect. And everyone in this package, right here, these 500 acres, they all get paid the same royalty percentage no matter which acre you own. This is why it's so safe. I'd love to, once again, see those monthly checks come in. I like to know that I have big oil and gas companies on there. I like to know that I have real ownership. Because I have real ownership, that you can actually sell it. Believe it or not, you will not find one asset out there that has this type of liquidatable capability. Every single mineral acre that you purchase, you can actually put, and there's a whole MLS market for it. You just put them up for sale when you're ready to sell. Here's the thing though, very, very rarely do people ever sell their minerals. The reason these packages come up for sale in such a big quantities, like 500 acres at a time and stuff, is typically due to a family liquidation aspect. The farmer that's selling the minerals to save the farm. Grandma and grandpa passed away and they left the 1,000 acres to the family. So what happens is companies like Eckard Enterprises will go in, they purchase the full 500 acres up front because you can't buy them using debt. You have to buy them in cash. And then if someone like yourself wants to purchase them, bam, those come through. So remember, you own these minerals in perpetuity. So the first question I always get is, well, Derek, what's the rate of return? Right? If you're telling me I get passive income, I get it every single month, I get the cash flow, how long does it last? Honestly, on average, it lasts for 20 to 50 years, right? Somewhere between there. In addition, what can I expect as an ROI? Well, what I did is I pulled a spreadsheet of every single Eckard land and acquisition investment, just so you guys can see, since last year, right? Actually, I think this goes all the way up till February of this year. If we just annualize out and you only bought 1 acre of every mineral package that was released over the last couple of years, you'd be receiving around a 15% ROI on your money. 15%. Once again, what investments out there can you find that can pay this? Now, if you actually want to break down and dive into any one of these mineral packages, once again, none of them are available. Once they're sold out, they are sold out. But they even break it down so you can see which investments have paid back 100% over a 4-year time frame, 75%, 50%, 25%, etc. So everything is really broken down nice and neat. If you actually look at any of their graphs, right, this is just one of them. Every time they give you a projection, there's an actual projection that they've seen that is typically going to outbeat that mark. So we're only talking about ROIs right now. We're talking about the cash flow that people seem to get, but there's a lot of other advantages to owning mineral rights. First off, no UBIT or UDFI. I've seen so many other speakers come on to self-directed IRA custodians platforms, and they sell you on these other investments that require debt. Hey, they're going to raise 20 or 30% of capital. Then they're going to go put it into multifamily storage units, senior living facilities, a debt fund, a note fund, something like that. But every single one of those is going to bring on unrelated business income tax, a very specific subsection called UDFI, unrelated debt finance income tax. Owning mineral rights, this does not apply. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, that's scary, because a lot of you out there have already invested in multifamily, and you had no clue that your IRA could have a tax on it. Don't forget about the monthly checks. I love the fact that you can receive a monthly check, because every other investment out there, they either pay quarterly or they pay you at the end of 5 years. Not another investment out there can pay you monthly. Ready for the best part? I always say no self-directed IRA fees. Now, I'm over-exaggerating that a little bit, because companies like Eckard, if you choose to use an IRA and purchase a mineral package, they'll cover up to $500 in quest fees. Look at that. You now can take your self-directed IRA, you're not worried about the fees, you're not worried about UDFI, nothing like that. Therefore, you also have no risk of things like prohibited transactions, right? And guess what? Even companies like Eckard will do your fair market values and your DOIs. How many investments out there has Quest Trust Company hounded you like, hey, we need those fair market values, we need those F&Bs, we need those F&Bs. And that's not coming from Quest. That's actually coming from the Department of Labor. Don't be mad at them for that. Well, Eckard actually will do your fair market values. Lastly, the ability to liquidate. Anytime you purchase a mineral asset or a mineral acre, you can put it on the market to sell it. Once again, you buy it per acre. I like to talk about some other unique energy statistics that are just out there, because I think a lot of times the oil and gas industry really has a bad rap. So first off, did you guys know the U.S. produces 13 million barrels of oil a day, but we consume around 22 to 23 million barrels of oil? We're consuming way more than we're producing. Even with the green energy movement, we're literally consuming 22 million barrels of oil a day. Places like the Permian Basin and the Anadarko Basin has 25 to 50 million barrels of oil per acre. Per acre. Think about that. You could own 1 acre and have 25 million barrels of oil in that 1 acre. How much you buying an acre for? 12 to 15 grand on the high end. That is awesome. How much does a barrel of oil sell for? Right now it's about $90 a barrel. And you can look at it right at the pump. Gas prices are going up. Let's look at some billionaires out there. Warren Buffett just purchased $100 million worth of oil stock. All you guys out there are so focused on this green energy movement, but if we're watching what the billionaires are doing, why do you think they're putting all their money into oil? Makes you wonder. And every piece of plastic, clothing, paint, etc. is being produced by a barrel of oil. Before working with people like Troy, right? I thought oil and gas, I always related it to the gas pump, right? And that's kind of where my knowledge, just stopped. I didn't realize that every article of clothing that you wear, every piece of plastic out there, your shoes, your clothes, the paint in your house is all produced by a barrel of oil. Pretend for a moment that we had 100% electric cars out there. It would barely make a dent in the amount of oil that is produced because of all the plastic that we as a society utilize. So we need oil and gas consistently. We really do. This is the most passive investment out there that is available. So why not you? Why don't you already own it? I just walked you through how you can take a self-directed IRA, purchase these assets at a very reasonable rate, right? And as you go through these investments, you get a monthly check. You can liquidate it, and you don't even have to cover your IRA fees or deal in fair market values or direction of investment forms. So one of the biggest things is when I left Quest Trust Company, I was adamant on finding ways to make my own capital. And so what I did is I positioned myself with what I would consider to be the best company out there in the energy space. So this is just me bragging about Eckard Enterprises a little bit. Honestly, if you just ever take a Google and just do some of your own research on Troy himself, right? Or you ever have a chance to go to one of his conferences, or you ever have a chance just to honestly sign up for one of their webinars that they do, they literally have paid over $55 million last year alone. They have paid out more money than most people raise in a single year. Just a few weeks ago, we cut a check over to Quest of $5 million to self-directed IRAs, right there, just to Quest Trust Company. Think about that. In the last, I'm going to call it 3 to 4 years, they've raised about $700 million, right? They're approaching that $1 billion in assets under management. And they're the only company that you'll see that is so open about not only their books, but working with their staff. And they don't look at any single person out there as an investor. What they do is they look at every single one of you as a partner. Why? Because they're owning the minerals first. Before you ever buy any mineral package, Troy Eckard himself has gone out, purchased them with his own capital. I think that's so unique. He doesn't raise the capital because he needs it, right? He wants you to partake in making money with him. So it's one of those just unique assets. So what I want everyone to do, right, is if you're interested, I'm going to bring on a real oil and gas expert. Once again, that's not me. I'm the self-directed IRA expert. So what I want you though to do is text the number you see here on your screen. You can send me an email as well. This is assuming that you want more information about oil and gas, more information just about minerals, right? And you don't want to have to deal with that one person that is the sales guy, right? You just want to get good information. So you can text free IRA, but put your name and email in there to the number you guys see there on the screen. That's 832-840-1161. So with that, Victor, if you wouldn't mind, I'd love it if you could bring on our my special guest that I asked to join me today. Is he here?
Hey, Derek.
Hey, Nathan. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. So guys, a little bit about Nathan here. So this is Nathan Rayborn. I got to meet him through the Freedom Founders, which is a dentist group that's kind of based out of Dallas. And Nathan, you worked for Exxon for, is it 12 years or 13 years?
12 years.
12 years. So you had an amazing paying job, right? And then as you were making all this money with Exxon, you did the same thing I did. You took a big career change and you shifted from working with Exxon and you shifted over to mineral rights. Is that correct?
That's right.
Why did you do that, if you don't mind me asking? And guys, this is now for you out there, for the people watching. This is your chance to ask a real oil and gas expert from Exxon any questions that you have. So make sure you put them there in the chat box, and we'll get to all of those here in just a minute. Thank you. So Nathan, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Yeah, so worked for Exxon for the last 12 years, downstream in the finishing units and the refineries and chem plants. So exactly like Derek said, oil and gas makes everything, rubbers, plastics, the shielding on electrical cables, etc., adhesives for babies' diapers, anything that you can think of, it derives from oil and gas. So definitely one thing to think when you're looking at investments and the longevity of them. Oil and gas is going to be around for a long time. Derek also hit on the consumption globally. Liquids were at 102.9 barrels. And in 2022, billion, and 99.9 in 22. So even with all the green energy, we're still consuming more globally than we were 2 years ago. So as far as working for Exxon, I ended up going to Freedom Founders, where I had met Derek. Started getting into the alternative asset class. Really started to learn more about it. Had built a small rental portfolio of for myself, and really was looking for a change. I wanted to get on the side of. I was watching, my family build this massive wealth through mineral rights and continue to acquiring, and really kind of wanted to dig deeper and dive more into that. I had met Troy. He had become a mentor of mine over the years.
Same thing with me. That's so funny.
Yeah, and would take time out of his day, and I started asking questions and kind of wanted to get more into it, and because of my experience, it happened to be a match made in heaven, and took the leap to get on this side to help other people realize the benefits of oil and gas, but on the safer investment side, rather than drilling or direct participation in working interests, and just building that foundation of mineral rights and passive income.
Now, one of the things that stuck out to me a lot that Troy told me a long time ago was funny, because I was like, man, aren't you worried about the green energy movement taking over like solar panels and wind and hydropower and those type of things? And his response to me was so unique. He told me, man, we need it. We need things like solar and wind and those type of things because, and correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but doesn't oil and gas make up like 85% of the overall energy that is used? Is that right?
That's right.
So everything else combined only makes up the other 15%. So people always get worried, but it's not like it's going to even take over. If anything, we need those type of things like solar and stuff to help alleviate some of the stress on the oil and gas. Is that correct?
That's right. I mean, just like we said, 102.9 billion barrels in 2024, which we're looking at in 2002, we were at 99.9. So we're still, even with all of the green energy, we're still using more oil and gas today than we were 2 years ago. And it's going to continue to grow. The continue of use will be dramatic here in the next few years.
So on that same note as well, so by switching from the drilling side, right, to the mineral rights side, how often do mineral rights actually not go into pay or something like that?
So, I mean, the good thing about Eckard is we only buy on producing minerals that have the potential of new wells coming online. So as far as them not turning on, they are going to get turned on. There's also timelines in there where they have to, for instance, if they have a permit and they don't drill on it in X amount of time, they'll lose the permit. And they've already spent a good amount of money and allocated those funds to drill those wells.
I love it. So you and your family, right? You guys now own mineral rights. You get your passive income. Have you ever had any capital calls? What is the or anything like that? Or what is the
No,
downside for you?
not really any downside. I have several short-term rentals. I have mid-term rentals. I also have long-term rentals. I managed them myself for a while, and now I've given them all to property managers. But you know what? You still get calls. You still have to answer questions. You still have to come out of pocket. AC goes down. Wow, that can just take all of your cash flow for the year out in one incident. So it's a relief. I guess the only issue is I don't have any more money that I can allocate to it. So,
You always got to let it build back up before you buy another.
that's right.
So we're getting a couple of questions coming in. This one's always unique. I think it's kind of funny, but it says, is there a minimum amount to buy? Now, I don't think that there is a minimum amount or a minimum to invest. I don't think that's a good way to look at it. But when someone asks you like, hey, what is the minimum of acres I have to buy? What do you say?
So we look at it as we really want to invest. It's going to be $50,000 for initial investment and $25,000 thereafter. Okay, so it depends on the package you can get. Some you can get 2 acres minimum, but that's how we go about it.
All right. So I always tell people that I would tell them $1 million. But the only reason I say that is I'm saying it in a broad spectrum. Is I tell people like if they're looking to buy 1 acre, 2 acres, something like that, you've already missed the boat, right? You should literally be taking a portion of your portfolio and every single month be trying to add another acre or 2 or 3 every month or every quarter, because ultimately that's going to replace those rentals. It's going to replace those notes. It's going to replace that multifamily. And I think the more money we have sitting in there, the better it looks. It's just nice to see that passive income keep increasing.
We definitely want all of our partners. We are partners in this. Just like Derek said, if you only have 50,000, that's all that you're ever going to allocate. That's we're really looking for somebody who really wants to look at it from $1 million mindset and build $1 million worth of minerals that they have. Continuously investing in multiple packages and diversifying is no doubt the best way to go about owning mineral rights. Why? Well, because we get diversification in our operators, in acres, in wells, timing, etc. So we really want you to continue to invest with us and be a partner and build that strong foundation of minerals.
So, Victor, if you don't mind, can you share my screen again just while me and Nathan here are talking just for a minute? Let's see. Did that pop up right? Victor? That's funny. It won't let you. It won't let me share my screen. Well, Victor, when you come back on, if you could share my screen, or Andrea, if one of you guys are there, let me share my screen. My screen share is down below. You guys have to add it at the bottom. But there we go. So everyone, I just want to put back up to that phone number real quick, because this is your one and only chance to really reach out to someone like Nathan, someone who worked with Exxon, one of the top oil and gas experts out there, right? And no cost to you. You can text him, email him questions, reach out, just text free IRA with your name and email. And Nathan, are you going to be responding today, or will you be taking today and Sunday off?
No, I can respond today. Anybody who has any questions, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. I love this. It's exciting. So don't hesitate.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Nathan, so much for being on. I do appreciate it. So I'll see you very soon. On that same note, I wanted to spend a couple of minutes too and talk about a very important event that's coming up in Dallas that Eckard Enterprises is going to be a part of. And I would argue this is probably going to be one of the largest events in history in the Dallas area. And that's going to be the Quest Expo. Now, what's nice is that if you guys are interested, I actually have a separate coupon code outside of the Expo 50. I can get you a better discount. The problem is, the reason I get the discount is because my dad is the owner of Quest. So, option 1, if you want to come to the Quest Expo, use the Expo50 coupon code. Option 2, send me an email. I'll get you a private code that I can't advertise at all. And the reason I can't is just because it's involving, just my dad being the owner, right? I would really like to personally help cover any of your Expo tickets out there and get you taken care of and see you at the Expo. Now, Andrea, are you there by chance? So guys, if, I was hoping to just ask her and trying to see if...
Yes, I am.
Hey, tell me about the Expo. So what's the Quest Expo that's right around the corner? I know
Yes.
it's coming up. How many speakers do you guys have lined up?
So we have about upwards of 50 speakers. Yes. We also are going to have break rooms. We're expecting over 800 people showing up. So it's going to be one of our biggest expos thus far.
Yeah, typically, you guys have around 800 to 1,000 people. Pretty safe assumption right there. And so ignoring the networking that goes on, one of the cool things I think you guys do is you bring people like Troy Eckard, right? Comes up and he gets to give a talk, but he's not selling a coaching program, right? And so you guys actually do a lot of vetting. You bring in very high-end specialized speakers to talk about the Expo and talk about different asset classes. So what are some of the unique speakers you guys have coming up, outside of Troy Eckard himself?
Yep. So we do have a list actually that we're sharing, and I'm just trying to pull that up.
I know you guys have like John Heyer coming, right? If you guys don't know who John is, John Heyer.
John Heyer, Jeff Watson, that's right.
Yep. I would argue John Heyer is probably the #1 IRS litigation attorney out there, right? You have Ryan Gibson, I think, coming, right? Ryan Gibson from, Spartan Investments that deals in storage units. I think you guys have like Lauren Wells that deals in notes, right? And Eddie Speed that actually has a whole cool aspect on subject twos, note selling and stuff. Who else do you guys have? Do you have ZT coming?
Yeah, ZT is coming as well. Hey, Derek, I actually saw a couple questions come in. If you don't mind, we can actually maybe address them. Yes, from your presentation. So from Walker Trading LLC, how long before we run out of these natural resources, as in the oil taken out of the ground doesn't replenish itself?
So, great question. Nathan, if you're still there, I'm going to ask that you hop back on, or Victor, if you can have Nathan jump back on. But pretty much when we talk about these type of things, yes, oil and gas is absolutely a depleting asset. This is actually what I'd argue is why you want to get into it, because as it depletes, right, the value of it goes up in value. So as far as it replenishing or anything like that, it does technically replenish, but it takes such a long time. I really just look at it more as a depleting asset. What do you think, Nathan?
Yeah, that's right. We're looking, as far as, how long before we run out, it's going to be not any of our lifetimes. That's definitely not something.
150 years, something like that. At least.
Time we have, just 12, 13 years ago, you heard a lot around that we were going to run out of oil and gas. It wasn't that we were going to run out of oil and gas. It was that we didn't know how to extract the oil and gas from the ground. And with new technology that's coming out, every year our wells are getting better. We're producing better. It's definitely not something to worry about for the near future. It'll be around for the next 100 years plus for sure.
Awesome. I see another question is, where's the land located? So I think he's asking, like, where are your mineral rights located? So if they're looking to buy mineral rights from a company like Eckard Enterprises, they're located in the Anadarko Basin. Where's that one? Like, just I'm asking you, So the Anadarko, go ahead.
The Anadarko Basin in Oklahoma and the Permian Basin in West Texas.
West Texas. Awesome. Now, why is it that you guys focus on things like the Anadarko Basin out in Oklahoma?
The reason why is because they're both oil and gas. We want to be diversified as well. If we were just in something like the Haynesville, which is dry gas in Louisiana, gas right now is pretty low. So, it wouldn't be good just to have all your wells or all your minerals there. So being diversified, oil and gas, Oklahoma and the Anadarko Basin, both there, and then as well Permian Basin, oil and gas.
I love it. Now, okay, great. Thanks for answering. Thanks, Walker. Walker Trading LLC. I wonder what Walker does. So, all right. Well, thanks, Nathan. Once again, guys, if you want to reach out to Nathan, text him at 832-840-1161. You text free IRA with your name and email. On that note, Andrea, I think we're going to go ahead and come to an end and just end it on the question.
Yes. I wanted to bring this slide back up just to remind everybody that we still have some Quest Expo tickets at 50% off. So, if you're looking to take some of those, it's a great time to do so. But thank you everybody for joining today. Derek, thank you so much for being here and talking to us about this amazing investment option for everybody out there. And hope everybody has a great rest of your weekends. Thank you, Nathan.
Everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you at the Quest Expo. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.